Western Massachusetts. This is Western Mass News.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us for Western Mass News 11 at 11. I'm Chris Pisano. The Healey Driscoll administration unveiling its capital investment plan for their fiscal budget for the next several years. A plan that'll invest millions of dollars towards the construction of a new Springfield District Courthouse. Western Mass News reporter Maria Wilson is in studio with the story. Maria?
Chris, the new multi-million-dollar announcement could mean that we're one step closer to seeing a new courthouse here in Springfield, a move that many we spoke with are praising.
It's long overdue, and, I think it's about time.
The Healey administration rolled out its 5-year, $14 billion capital spending plan on Thursday. The plan set aside more than $100 million to replace the Roderick Ireland Courthouse in downtown Springfield. A statement from Governor Maura Healey reads, "Our administration envisions the Springfield Court Complex as an opportunity to build a courthouse of the future, utilizing the most advanced approaches to energy efficiency and demonstrating best-in-class design. That's why our administration is including $106 million in our fiscal year 2024 to 2028 capital improvement plan to begin the process of constructing a new modern Hall of Justice in Springfield to replace the current aging infrastructure." Laura Gentile, who works in the Hampden County Court of Clerks, reacting to Thursday's announcement.
I applaud the governor. I like to see a new bit of fresh air out in Western Mass, and I think everybody knows that we really need a new courthouse, a state-of-the-art courthouse. I do think it should be in Springfield proper.
Also weighing in, State Representative Carlos Gonzalez, who has been vocal about the future of the courthouse. For him, this announcement is a positive next step.
I think the decision has been made after the cries of residents from the city of Springfield, as well as the employees here from the Hampden County Courthouse. And with the new governor coming in, the determination has been made.
For Representative Gonzalez, who wants to see a new courthouse stay in Springfield, the plan's wording is promising.
In the capital improvement plan has been allocated $106 million for a new courthouse, a new Springfield courthouse. So we're very excited about that terminology being used.
After mold was found inside the current Roderick Ireland courthouse, employees sued the trial court over the workplace conditions, sparking a long-standing push to renovate or rebuild the courthouse. The plaintiff's attorney in that case responding to the recent news in a statement saying in part, quote, "While allocating money by the governor is a significant step in establishing a new courthouse, it is not the end of this decades-old battle against Boston-centric government agencies. The allocated funds represent less than half of what is required to fund a new courthouse. As a result, the community needs the continued support of our local legislators to ensure that the momentum for completion of this project is maintained." The state's Division of Capital Asset Management and Maintenance, or DCAM, released a report where it ranked several options to either relocate or renovate, but at this point, no location has been chosen and actual construction appears to be years off. Reporting in studio, Maria Wilson, Western Mass News.